Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It is March the 19th, 2022, and as of yesterday, I didn't have a single question for That Dad Guy Answers Part 6, but you guys came through. And this morning when I woke up, there were a bunch of questions that were sit there, some all from the same person, and some new ones. I think I have had a problem, though, with getting some of the comments. People have said that, I sent you a comment on your video, and it hasn't come through. So I don't know if they get held for review, and maybe words that are put in the comments, YouTube doesn't like them or something. I'm not quite sure. But sometimes I don't have the comments, and then all of a sudden they appear. So I'm going to answer the questions that I do see before me, and we'll get to that. So thank you so much for tuning in, liking, subscribing, and of course all these comments that make these videos possible. And of course, at the end of this video, if you like it and you want to ask some questions, leave some comments, and next week I'll answer them. Now, first, I'm going to start. I got a few questions in postcards this week, and they said specifically for your Q&A, so I thought I'd answer those ones first. So, from Amlan here in Bangalore in India, she says, "What is your most rewarding experience of your male career?" You know, I think the most rewarding thing that I've had so far is I had a picture drawn for me by a child of one of the customers, and they left it in the mailbox for me. So when I got there, there was a thank you note and a nicely drawn picture from one of the children on my route, and it made me very happy to receive that. So that's probably my most rewarding experience as a mail carrier, is just getting thank yous for the job that I'm doing. So it's not necessary. So when people take time out to just thank you, it makes you feel good. And I think that's the case in any job you do. You go in to receive a paycheck, and you do your best to do your job. When someone takes notice and saying that they appreciate the work you're doing, I think it makes you feel good. So I think that's would be my most rewarding. All right, so that question answered. Thank you, Amlan. The next one, do you have local teams as well as NHL teams? This comes from John in Scotland. Yes, we here in Moncton, we have the Quebec Major Junior team, so that's kind of the level below the NHL. They're kids about 16 or 17 to 21 that play in that league, and we have the Moncton Wildcats, so that's our local team to cheer for, and some years they do quite well. So thank you, John. And the last postcard question I have comes from Julie Norman in Montana. And she says, where we go here? Do you remove your stamps from your postcards? And can you do it without damaging the postcards? So, no, Julie, I don't remove the stamps from the postcards. I think they're a special part of the postcard themselves. People take time to pick the stamps that are special for me. Even though I'm a stamp collector, my father's a stamp collector, I try to keep these together because the postcard means just as much to me as the stamps do now. And the only way to take them off is either by soaking the postcard or steaming the stamps. Either one is going to destroy or damage the postcard. So I leave them right where they are. They look good on the postcard, and unfortunately, it'd be nice to have them all in the collection, but no, these ones are staying on the postcards. So thank you, Julie, for that. Now, that is it for those questions. Now let me get to the ones that were put on the video from last week, so part 6. The first one comes from Kristen Quilter in Sweden, and she says, about bilingualism, are kids in Canada required to study the other language that's not their native language? If so, how many years? So yes, in the school system here, if you go to a French school, you have to learn English, and if you go to an English school, you have to learn French. The number of years you study is dependent on the program you get into. For example, when I went through as an early immersion, which means I started in grade 1 and I took French all the way through to grade 12. And then at the end, you're considered bilingual, and there's a little bilingualism test you can take, but it's not mandatory to start in grade 1. You can have late immersion where you start in grade 7 and work your way through, or grade 3. There's different starting points, but yes, you do have to take both languages at some point, and the number of years is really dependent on when you start. and whether you want to be considered officially bilingual at the end. So when you get to high school, there's a number of language credits you need to have in order to be considered bilingual at the end. Some people don't take it right to their full potential. You don't have to do that. It's just nice to have a basic knowledge of both languages. All right, so hopefully that answers that. The next one comes from Yulia in Russia, and it says, how many Hedgehog cards have you received so far? Do you put them in a separate album, and would you like to show them off in a video one day? So I've gone through, I've counted my postcards, and of the Hedgehog ones I have 24 Hedgehog postcards so far. I've received 329 postcards. That's officials and swap combined. So you do the math on the percentages, 24 of 329. I don't put them in a separate album because when I put my albums together, I do them based on how I receive them. So every one I write a number on the back that this is 205 or whatever it is. I do divide them by post-crossing. So my official post-crossing ones, these are cards 1 through 100 in here, and I just put them in here. That's the very first card I received. It's my first official one. And I just keep them in order of how I get them, and I separate the direct swaps, friend mail, from my official ones. And that's what I do. As for showing them all in a video one day, it's possible. I could pull them out. I know Basil yesterday asked me if I would do one with Polo and put all the Hedgehog stamps and postcards and all that together and have him in the video. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, because he's probably not really going to be interested in being in a video like that anyways, but it could be interesting if you want me to show you the postcards. I have shown you all of them through all my videos, but putting them all together could be an interesting thing, and adding Polo to it, who knows? It's possible. We shall see. All right, so thank you, Yulia, for that. The next grouping of questions comes from my brother Eric. The first one is a recent one. You can see I'm wearing a Montreal Expos shirt today. It was a defunct baseball team, and he has some sports questions. So the first question I see is, what are your thoughts on the trade of Luke Voight to the Padres? So Luke Voight was the first baseman for the New York Yankees, and he was traded yesterday to the San Diego Padres. We didn't get a whole lot in return for him, and for such a good player. So disappointed about that. I really liked his character. He seemed to be a good clubhouse guy. And it's always difficult when you trade, when players you like get traded. But I understand the business of it is that we assigned Rizzo to first base, and there's only so many people you can put there. Luke Voight is deserving of being a full-time player. So if he's not going to be a full-time player with us, then we should trade him somewhere that he can be a full-time player. So I think he'll be happy about going there. It's a competitive team, so it works out well for him. And for us, we free up some cap space, I guess, by getting rid of him. So thank you, Luke, for your contributions to the Yankees, and we wish you much success with your new team. All right. The next one, what rental car did you get to replace the damaged one by the deer? Okay, so yesterday, if you didn't see the video that I put out, my wife unfortunately hit a deer on her way, or the deer hit her on her way to work in the morning. And so our car is out of commission and has to be repaired. So we got a rental car. And so she's driving a Jeep Wrangler right now, very bright red one, very different to be in, much higher up. And it's a different vehicle. Ari really likes it, so that's great for him. For the couple weeks that we'll have it, he'll enjoy that, to be in that. All right, the next one, what does Polo do for fun? He runs on a wheel, and he does it in the middle of the night. So when I get up for work at 4:30 in the morning, he is running away on his wheel, and he will do it from 1 o'clock in the morning till 7 sometimes. He'll run, and he'll go eat, and then he'll get back on the wheel and he'll run. Because he's nocturnal, he's up in the middle of the night, and then he sleeps all during the day. So when I tend to get him up, I get him up around 7:30 at night, and he goes for a little bath swim to use the washroom, and then he will play with us and cuddle in, and that's what our time when we spend with him. Eric also says, other than the Beatles, what other bands or solo musicians do you listen to? What bands have you seen live? long question as far as what bands I've seen live. I don't think I'm going to list them all out. I have seen quite a few, and some I don't even remember seeing, as my wife will attest to. We were fortunate when we lived in Vancouver that the company we worked for gave us opportunities to use their club seats at GM Place, which I think is now Rogers Centre. So we got to see lots of bands that way. Other than the Beatles, Tragically Hip, a big Canadian band. I've seen them many, many times. And so seen that. Blue Rodeo, another Canadian band, Northern Lights. We've seen Lenny Kravitz, the Bare Naked Ladies. Foo Fighters. I don't know, I've been fortunate enough to see a bunch. I've seen Bob Dylan, which wasn't all that great. I think he'd forgotten most of his lyrics when he was with us. So there has been some concerts that have been less than memorable. Dire Straits. There's been some great bands that have come through. I listen to lots of stuff, and I like the modern stuff too. Like, kids have influenced me and things, so I listen to modern music as well. But I haven't seen a concert live in quite some time now. With COVID, of course, not seeing any that way. We do have tickets to see Michael Bublé, who was supposed to come to Moncton 2 years ago, but with COVID, it had been deferred. We still have the tickets, and he's still planning on coming at some point in time, so we'll go see him. All right. Are you an MCU or a DCEU fan, or do you like superhero movies? Who is your favorite superhero? It doesn't matter to me whether it's the MC, Marvel, or whether it's DC. I do enjoy superhero movies. I don't tend to see a lot of them in the theaters. I find it very expensive to go to the movies, and especially where there's 4 of us. Usually, Ari's not a big movie fan, but he has been going to more lately. And I don't have a specific favorite superhero. Wolverine, I guess, probably as a kid growing up. That comic was one I enjoyed. But I just enjoy being entertained and distracted. That's what's best about movies for me. What's your favorite fast food restaurant? I don't know that I have a favorite fast food restaurant. Places like McDonald's I don't really enjoy going to. I love food, but I would prefer to sit down in a restaurant and eat nice, delicious food. As far as something quick, Arby's roast beef is kind of nice. Different. We use Wendy's a lot because all 4 of us are gonna agree to eat there. Quiznos if I want to have a sub that's been toasted. Yeah, the usual ones here. I don't know how many of those are in Europe, but that's what we have here. What's your favorite snack food? You can see that Eric has asked a lot of questions. He wanted to make sure that I had a video today, which was great that he put a bunch in. Favorite snack food? Probably like a coffee crisp or a crunchy, which are chocolate bars here. We do eat some potato chips. Everything in moderation, I guess. Swedish berries, I guess, would be my ultimate candy food to eat, though. All right. You've seen the Yankees play at Yankee Stadium. You've seen the Steelers play at Heinz Field. And you've seen the Habs play at the Bell Center. Are there any other teams you would like to see play in their home stadium or arena? I would like to get to Wrigley Field and see the Cubs play, just because it's an iconic field. So that would be fun to see. Going to Vegas to see the Golden Knights would be interesting, just for the fact that it's Vegas. So yeah, there are some iconic teams that would be nice to see. Dallas Cowboys for football, to see them in Dallas in that massive stadium, just to see the stadium. I know you've seen so many facilities, stadiums, arenas, and things like that too. I don't have any specific one I have to see. It's not like I've got to get to Manchester to see Man U play or Liverpool. I'm not a big soccer, football fan, so they're not high on my list, even though they're iconic stadiums and teams. So, not really. Wrigley Field, yeah, that'd be my number one in Chicago. What else do we have here? All right, that's it from Eric that I can see. We have one here from Ali in St. Stephen, New Brunswick. It says, of the places you've been, where do you feel the most at home? Wow, that is a good question. Most at home. anytime you're away from your natural home, I think it feels a little bit different. When my wife and I traveled Europe, we loved Germany and Austria. They were clean, the people were friendly, the architecture was so different than what we're used to seeing, and there was so much history around. We enjoyed that. When we were in the Netherlands, we had people that were so kind to us because we were Canadians, and the monuments they had from the wars that were still well manicured, that were all put to Canadian soldiers that had passed away. We could feel the love there, so that was amazing too. Each place we've gone to has been a little bit different in what I would call, I don't know, the relaxation of it. I don't know what I'd say most at home. I think anywhere that we've been, we've enjoyed for the most part. There hasn't been too many places that we haven't enjoyed. What makes it the best, I think, is when you feel relaxed. So if you're away and you're not having things to worry about, you're enjoying good food, you're seeing new sights, that's what I love about traveling. That is the last question that I see on this list. So I want to thank everyone who's contributed to it once again. I'm going to continue to say that if you guys ask the questions on these videos, then I will do a video to respond to them. And if you don't ask the questions, I'll bring the video series to an end. So that, and it's not a threat. It's just saying I know that some people have, you come to an end of something and you got to move on to something new. So I appreciate that everyone stepped up yesterday and made it possible that we could have a video today. And hopefully you've enjoyed what come out. So there's been a lot of variety of topics between travel and food and language in schools and hedgehog cards. Yeah, there's been a bunch of different things that we talked about today. And hopefully next week we'll talk about a bunch of other ones. So keep the comments coming in, stay positive, and stay safe. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?